How could you forget Jesus? But do you remember Jesus like he told us to? Jesus said, "Remember me together." Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said from our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church comes from two readings from Matthew 26 through 27. But today we'll just be reading from Luke 22:19 through 20. And we'll be reading from the NET version today, where then he took bread, and after giving thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me." And in the same way, he took the cup after they had eaten, saying, "This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood." Now, what is the real point of what just happened there, and then also what happened in Matthew in the passage? Well, this is the night before what we call Good Friday, preparation day. Some think that this was a Passover Seder, but it couldn't really have been, or the next day would have been a Sabbath, and Jesus couldn't have been crucified. But that's not really the point here. The point here is Jesus was saying, "This do in remembrance of me." Remember me together. Now, we call this a sacrament, communion. And that means an act or an instance of sharing. So even the word itself, communion, that we use to talk about this event, means sharing. And in some traditions, this ritual is performed with fancy things, with shiny gold cups and incense and custom-made wafers. And only certain people can touch them, that sort of thing. In some traditions, it's all about convenience. I know in our church, a lot of times we'll use the little plastic container with a little juice and that round thing that tastes like some sort of styrofoam. But really, it's not the elements that matter. Have we missed the point of what we are really to remember? In the context of that night, it wasn't very shiny. It was a bunch of homeless guys who traveled from place to place. And in that culture, their feet would get dirty, and there was most times in a nice house there would be a slave or a servant whose job was to wash people's feet as they came into the house. Much like in some houses, they don't want to walk on the carpet, and so they ask everybody to take their shoes off before. It was the same kind of thing, and we forget Jesus didn't just break the bread and pass out the wine. He served them. He washed their feet, and then he literally gave them the bread. The King of all creation was serving them as a servant. And Paul talks about this. He reminds us of the actual night in 1 Corinthians 11, 20, 21. "Now, when you come together at the same place, you're not really eating the Lord's Supper. For when it is time to eat, everyone proceeds with his own supper. One is hungry and another becomes drunk." And then skipping on to verse 33 of 1 Corinthians 11, Paul really drives this point home. He said, "So then, my brothers and sisters, when you come together to eat," and remember this is in the context of the Lord's Supper, "wait for one another." Literally meaning serve, waiting on each other. Communion, it's not about being served. It's not about who gives you the wafer and who hands you the cup. It's about serving and a heart of serving, sharing, waiting on one another, because we remember that's who Jesus is and what he came to do, and we're to live like he lived. In Matthew 28, Jesus said, "Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as ransom for many." So this thing that we do called communion, it's not about ritual. It's about following Jesus' example, remembering him together by serving one another. That's why Jesus said, "Remember me together." How can you put that into action today? Who can you serve today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really means a lot to me if you like it, if you share it and comment. Really appreciate you. I hope that you have an amazing day today, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.